Hello everybody, Lovecraft Life here, bringing you guys a different video, and this time around, what I want to do here is bring you guys the lore behind the cards of the Lovecraft archetype. One thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that they utilize a lot of stories, characters, creatures, and a bunch of other things from all these different lores, and people don't really seem to care about the lores at all. I mean, one of the best decks out right now, the Burning Abyss, is based off of Dante's Inferno and everything. To be exact, like one part of the Inferno, and most people just don't care or they don't know. And I know a lot of people want to know more about the card lore, so I decided to start doing that. And today we're going to be talking about the card lore behind the Elder Gods, the Old Gods, and the Great Old One. No, that's the same ones. The Outer Gods, or Outer Entities, and Old Entities, as they're called here in the TCG. So first and foremost, in Yugi terms, the Elder Entities are a series of fusion monsters that also support the Outer Entities and the Old Entities, and have the support card of the Unspeakable Trapezoidon, blah blah blah. So it's a most everybody knows who Odin is. He's pretty much the main Elder Entity that we all know about. Well, let's see what the Elder Entities are in Lovecraft. So, Elder Gods in Lovecraft universe basically oppose the Outer Gods and the Great Old Ones. They are benevolent deities. To be exact, one of the most well-known ones is Nodens, whom of which, as you guys know, is this dude over here. Nodens, I'm going to go ahead and skip over to him. Nodens is a deity referred to in the Strange House, High House in the Mist, and another story of the Dream Quest of Unknown Cutoff. Both of these are stories of H.P. Lovecraft. And Nodens is the master of the Night Gaunts, which is basically a race of strange flying creatures that are very, very creepy. Something funny is that Nodens translates from Latin to no teeth. So I guess Nodin has no teeth. Now, so yeah, that's just something interesting. Nodens, I don't know why they don't have very much information on him on the HP Lovecraft wiki, but he is definitely an interesting Elder God, for sure. Now the next one is Entis, and I honestly had trouble finding any information about her because she's not on the HP Lovecraft wiki. So I had to go and search her up and find this little thing over here from the trivia page on a different thing, the Arcana wiki. Basically, what Entis is she's a warrior deity, and she of course opposes the Great Old Ones like all the Elder Entities do, and she has a burning staff. And not much else. Oh, she created the Elder Sign, which I don't really know much about because I haven't really read the Lovecraft stories. I really do want to. I even got them on my wish list on Amazon. So yeah, not really much information on her, but however, she is apparently in two different stories. Not by H.P. Lovecraft, though, which is somewhat interesting. Because, for those who don't know, Lovecraft, the man behind all this, he basically didn't really care if he used his stuff. So, if you want to use Cthulhu, his most well-known creation, for a story, you pretty much can. I mean, Cthulhu's in like 50 different games and been in what, how many episodes of South Park? I lost count. Anyway, so yeah, he pretty much doesn't really care if you do whatever you want with his stuff, although of course obviously you do kind of have to reference it. Sadly, he's not alive anymore. He died at the age of 46. So yeah, way back in 1937. So for those who want to know who Lovecraft is, this is him. He is considered to be one of the greatest science fiction American authors ever. He is also, well, sorry, let me rephrase that, science fiction horror, because these are supposed to be from horror stories, and yeah, that's not something you want to see in an alley. So, getting sidetracked here, let's continue on. Next up is the Outer Entities. Very interesting, to say the least, creatures. The outer gods are basically their cosmically significant entities. Sorry, I'm having trouble saying some of these things. They are different from the Great Old Ones, although the distinction isn't universally acknowledged. Some people like to lump the outer gods and the Great Old Ones together. Um, Generally speaking, though, they are located beyond the confines of Earth and the solar system, exerting their influence from deep space. However, there are some outer gods who live on Earth. Now, the most well-known outer god, well, okay, I thought I had it in a different order, but oh well. The most well-known outer god is Nyarlathotep, in which, as you can see here, is this version right here, and then this is what he looks like. However, here's the thing, Nyarlathotep likes to take up a bunch of different forms, so this could be one thing, this could be another. I think there was actually originally a painting of that on here somewhere. Oh yeah, and I'll get onto that later. Yeah, that is, this picture right here is what inspired this picture over here. And apparently there's a figurine of Nyarlathotep. Okay, so Nyarlathotep, he's known as the Crawling Chaos. He is the second, I like to think he's the second most well-known Lovecraft creation, with obviously the most well-known being Cthulhu. I don't think this guy actually has any links to Cthulhu really outside of them both being like basically regarded as gods. Nyarlathotep, he appears in a lot of stories by Lovecraft. He's also in quite a good number of games and stuff. He has a number of cults serving him. He is he likes to mess around with people. Let's just put it that way. Whereas a lot of other outer gods like to kill people and stuff, Nyarlathotep likes to drive them insane and then kill them. So yeah, he's not a very friendly dude. He does I thought there was something else here, and I don't want to say anything that I know. Oh yeah, here it is. He will take the guise of a human every now and then, appearing as basically a Slender Man, but with a face. um, he is rumored to have 1,000 different forms, most reputed to be quite horrific and sanity blasting. So yeah, your sanity points will dwindle very, very fast in seeing most of his forms. Like, for instance, I don't know about you guys, but if I saw this in the Dark Forest, I'd probably faint right there. Now, as some of you might have noticed, Nyarlathotep does appear in this wonderful little anime over here called the Heior Nyariko-san, or whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty good Japanese anime and stuff, and it has a lot of references to Lovecraft. If you really like the stories behind Lovecraft, I would have to recommend watching the anime or reading the manga or something. Now then, the other outer god that I kind of ignored first is Azathoth. Now, Azathoth, he is the boss monster of the Lovecraft deck. You want to go into him and he nukes your opponent's board and prevents your opponent from activating monster effects that turn. But however, he also plays an important role in the Lovecraft universe, with him being possibly the oldest and being possibly the creator of the universe. However, Azathoth is also known as the Blind Idiot God because he is oblivious to pretty much the universe and everything that's within it. He lives in outer space, where he has a whole bunch of alien servants who basically play lots and lots of music for him because he loves listening to music and doesn't really like doing anything else. He is believed to live somewhere outside of the universe. Somehow he got there, we don't really know. And he exerts his will onto the universe by having his messenger and avatar Nyarlathotep, which I obviously already went over, do basically his bidding, although Nyarlathotep also has his own agenda to do, so it's kind of really iffy on these guys' relationships. That being said, though, this is what he looks like, and it's very, very creepy. And here is a picture of him outside of the universe, surrounded by his alien cohorts who play lots and lots of music for him because for some reason he just loves music. I can't really blame him though. I mean, if I was outside the universe, I'd want to listen to a lot of music too. I can like listen to a lot of music right now. And yeah, this is the him in card form. I have to say, I honestly prefer this design over this because it's just a swirling mass of tentacles and eyeballs, and this is a swirling mass of black ooze and mouths and actually, you know what? I think I do kind of prefer this. Okay, so let's skip over to the Odinities. Basically, these guys are regarded as how should I put it? They're a group of I'll just read it. Yeah, they're a group of unique malignant beings of great power. They are physically present on Earth, and indeed once presided over the planet as gods and rulers. They are to be distinguished from the more cosmically placed entities such as Azeroth and blah blah blah, to races as the Chthonians, Deep Ones, Outer Things, and Nego. Sadly, none of these have been presented into Yu-Gi-Oh form. The distinction really, aside from the fact that the Great Old Ones live on Earth and the Outer Gods live elsewhere, isn't really always consistent. For instance, Nyarlathotep, despite his marked interest in Earth and its culture, is generally considered to be an Outer God instead of a Great Old One. On the other hand, Hastur has a few avatars and is generally based in outer space, but is still considered a Great Old One. There's also some conflicting accounts on Sub-Niggurath, although she's not yet in Yu-Gi-Oh form, but she is in Force of Will, though, which is something interesting. So yeah, the most well-known Great Old One is Cthulhu. And here he is right over here. Now, sadly, Cthulhu does not have a Yu-Gi-Oh form yet, so yeah, we can't really talk about him very much right now. But however, we can talk about Cthulhu, whom of which is said to kind of just not really get along with anybody. Cthulhu is basically a living fire. It is a fire deity, and it is made of fire. It's living fire. It's fire. um, he is served by the flame priestess of Cthulhu, Fagana, region of fire vampires, maybe his progeny. He has at least one other known progeny, being known as Afumisha. Sorry if I have a really hard time pronouncing these. Looks like he's only been in one or two different stories, and he showed up instead of, oh wait. The protagonist attempts to summon Cthulhu to drive an avatar of Nyarlathotep out of Force 2. Okay, yeah, that's right. Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep don't really get along. I thought it was Cthulhu who he didn't get along with, but it's Nyarlathotep who he doesn't get along with. Then we have Hastur, one of my favorites in terms of card art. Honestly, this card art looks amazing. His effect is okay too, but his card art is honestly some of the best. Heck, all these you could blow up into like a painting and put on a wall, which would be awesome. This is Hastur in Lovecraft. He is known as Hastur the Unspeakable, also known as Heishu, who is not to be named. Or, yeah. And by the way, that came before Voldemort, so yeah. He is only mentioned in one of Lovecraft's short stories, and it wasn't really until another guy came around called Bierce that Hastur was really expanded on. He is basically the god of shepherds in the Lovecraft mythos, yeah, he's basically that. He is he doesn't really do much. However, he is feared. He is well known, and he's amorphous apparently, and appears to be a fast, similar to his Hafnis Cathilia. I don't know. He doesn't really look very much amorphous. He does look like a writhing mass of tentacles, but he's a powerful creature that it should be feared, but don't really know much about him. This doesn't really provide very much detail on him, other than some of the quotes from stories and stuff. Yeah, whoever wrote this article really needs to expand on it. Now, next up is the Unspeakable Trapezoidon. A card that is pretty good for the deck. It's basically an instant fusion, or summons a synchro or an exceed instead. But however, the Shining Trapezoidon, of which it is based off of in the Lovecraft universe, is an artifact that is used to summon Nyarlathotep. You open it up and then it summons Nyarlathotep, which is really good or bad, depending on if Nyarlathotep likes you or not. It is, according to the stories, created on the planet Yoggoth and brought to Earth by the Old Ones before the emergence of the human race. Throughout its history, it was associated with Atlantis and the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Occultists and archaeologists discovered it in a box of alien construction while exploring the ruins. The tomb of, okay, that's gonna really be hard. Nefren Ka, okay, not very hard. In 1843, Bowen returned to his home with the Habitats on and its box in the following year, where he founded the Church of Story Wisdom. Unknown to Dexter. Okay, so dude named Dexter decided to try and do something with it. However, the constant darkness at the bottom of the bay answered the hunters. Dexter was possessed by the Haunter and eventually became one of the foremost nuclear scientists in the world in charge of investigation of atomic energy for wartime purposes. Interesting. Now, the next card, and the last support for them so far, is the Dreamland. Dreamland in Lovecraft universe is as it sounds. It's where we go when we dream, and you can only really go there when you dream. And basically, while you're there, what you do with it is you're able to do whatever you want with it. Like, you can create a whole city or a remake of your own town, your hometown. Okay, you want to revisit your hometown, but don't want to go back to the real world. Okay, let's make it. The Dreamland is a very key place in the Lovecraft universe. Oftentimes, it's inhabited by beings and civilizations that don't exist in the real universe, such as the Zoogs, the Googs, the Moonbeasts, and several others. It is also home to a key landmark, the Plateau of Lang, which is a very odd place because its location seems to change from story to story. Okay, guys, so that is basically what I know of H.P. Lovecraft and his stories and stuff. I really do want to read them, and I'll probably do an update video just later on as new support comes out in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, and as soon as I get to read the stories, because I really do want to read them. I love I'm really fascinated by the lore and everything behind it. Like, I like things that have a lot of lore behind it that makes it really interesting. So, guys, tell me what you think. Tell me what I could have done better, what I should have done better, and all that stuff. Tell me if you learned anything, if you want to hear more about this, if you want to see more lore things like this, where I can talk about other lores of archetypes and stuff like the Nordic archetype, going over the lore behind all that, or the Burning Abyss and stuff like that. Tell me what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. See you guys